Welcome friends, it's Ray. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, we're going to be using this Crafter's Companion set, the Anemone, and it has 5 layering stencils, the 5 ink pads, and then it has some stamped sentiments. And the stencils are labeled, so that's good. There are 5 of them. And here are the ink pads. I've swatched them out and just to kind of see the shades, and they don't look anything like the inks that are on the panel. But I'm gonna go with them anyway, use them anyway, because I want to see how these inks perform. I've added some post-it note tape right above stencil number 1, just as an anchor point, so it makes it easier for me to line up my future stencils against that line. And I've placed my white panel on my grip mat, and now I am bringing in that ink number 1. And it is pretty dry. This is the wisteria, and of course this is my first time using it. I'm gonna go with the inks though, just because I want to see what the end result is like with these colors, even though they look off from what's on the folder. My white cardstock is cut to 5.5 by 8.5. I'm going to make an A7 5x7 card today. And I'm really struggling with this ink, but I think we're going to make it work. I have sped this up a bit since I am going to be inking several stencils. I'm using the second ink pad, the Amethyst, and this is a little juicier than that wisteria, so that's good. And you'll note that I am pouncing my tool, my ink blending tool, in certain areas, especially where the stencil is thin. I don't want to hurt the stencil, bend it or anything, so I'm just pouncing. I am using the same ink blending tool for each stencil. Coming in with the third ink, Nightshade, and this one's much juicier, so that's good. And applying that darker ink here. And you'll notice that stencil 3 has leaves, and I am masking off those leaves, trying to use some tape that I'd used before, but that's not working. So masking off the leaves and or the leaf area so that I can ink those. This kit does not come with green ink for the leaves, so I am going to bring in my distress inks in Shabby Shutters and Lucky Clover. Stencil number 4 brings in more details for the leaves, so I'm going to mask that section off. And here I bring in my Lucky Clover Distress ink and immediately realize that this is a little darker than I want it to be. So what I'm going to do is bring in my Distress Oxide in Bundled Sage to tone this down a bit. And I like that result better. So here I'm going to shift my masking tape down so that I can ink up the flower. I'm bringing in the fourth ink, the Dewberry. And this ink is much juicier than the first three. Like with some of the previous stencils where it's really thin, I'm just pouncing my ink, trying not to damage those thin parts of the stencil. And here I'm bringing in stencil number 5, which has more of the highlights, and then I'm going to use the 5th ink, which is the Grape, and that is coming in much darker to add those highlights, and this one is much juicier than those first 3. Also doing some pouncing here, again, just so that I don't damage my stencil. And then I'm going to bring in the Shabby Shutters for the details in these leaves, just to continue trying to tone that down a little bit. That Lucky Clover was really dark. I must say that the first ink, the Wisteria, that is a lot lighter than I like it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with the Amethyst, that second shade, and darken up that Wisteria a little bit. So I'm bringing in stencil 1 and putting that back over top my image. And I'm looking at number 2. Here I'm just bringing in that Amethyst to darken up the Wisteria shade. And I'm also inking over top all the shades, but that's okay because I'm using the lighter or the Amethyst, which is lighter than those other 3, and so it's really not impacting them at all. I like this much better. So here I've brought in my A7 waffle flower layers die and trimmed my panel down to 4.5 by 6.5. I've placed my panel in my MISTI, bringing in the Celebrate stamp from this kit and or from this set. I've used my anti-static powder tool for heat embossing, and then I'm going to go ahead and ink this up with VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink, and I stamp it twice. And then I will apply clear embossing powder. I've brought in my heat tool to melt the embossing powder. Love the way this is shaping up. I've added double-sided foam tape to the back and partially released the release paper on the tape. Added some liquid glue just so that I have time to get this positioned right where I want it on my panel. Here I'm bringing in some sequin that is pretty close to the same colors that I have in this large blossom, and adding those to my panel with liquid glue. I love these big, bold, blooming florals. They cover so much real estate on the panel. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you liked the video, and if not a subscriber, will subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Until next time, good day, friends.